Hello, Isn't It Romantic Book Club? I'm so excited to have Arlene McFarlane here with me today talk about her Murder Curlers series. She is a USA Today best-selling author, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. Arlene is the USA Today best-selling author of the Murder Curlers series, previously an esthetician, hairstylist, and owner of a full-service salon. Arlene now writes full-time. She's also an accomplished pianist and makeover artist. When time allows, she plays publicly and posts makeovers on her website. Arlene is a member of Romance Writers of America, Sisters in Crime, Toronto Romance Writers, and the Golden Network. She's won and placed in over 30 contests, including twice in the Golden Heart, twice in the Daphne du Maurier, and most recently in the prestigious Chanticleer International Mystery and Mayhem Book Awards. Arlene lives with her family in Canada. Hello, Arlene.
Hi, Diane. Nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. I hear you had a bit of a storm recently.
Yes, it was like a blizzard. So it's been years since I've ever been through a blizzard. But anyways, it was pretty eventful. Like even the snow plows, they had to pull off the roads because
Wow.
snow plows were tipping over on the highway.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yes, and getting stuck. And yeah, there was an actual picture on Facebook of one plow that it actually was on its side. So it was pretty brutal up here for a couple of days. But we were all safe and sound, and we live in a log home, so it was nice and toasty and cozy. And
Oh,
my
good.
husband was home from school, so that was nice. Yeah.
Oh, that is nice. And did you get any writing done or no?
Yes, I did. I was able to get some writing in, so that's good.
And
Well, not much else you can do. So.
you're working on your fifth book, is that right?
Yes, I'm working on book 5, Murder, Curlers, and Kilts.
Oh,
So
love that. You know what?
yeah,
I just recently saw the cover for that. I think you did a cover reveal. Uh,
yes.
yeah, I'll have to post pictures in the comments later after we're done our interview. Can you tell us a little bit about the premise for the Murder Curler series?
Well, the story is very much My Big Fat Greek Wedding meets Miss Congeniality, with a tagline that reads, "Cops fire guns and tasers. She wields combs and razors." And she is Valentine Beaumont. She's a gutsy, feisty, pleasantly sarcastic heroine who, and this is kind of neat, how Kirkus says she can turn just about anything in her bag of beauty supplies into an imaginative weapon, even if it's a rubber band. So
She's
she's
the
very creative and impulsive, and that's how she defends herself and catches crooks.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. And how did you come up with such a creative heroine?
Well, they always say write what you know, and I owned and ran a salon, like you mentioned, for 13 years. And having a beauty salon, really, there was a lot of material that, through the years, that things that helped me kind of craft and create this idea. And so, and I also liked reading comedy mysteries, like lighthearted mysteries. And so I put the two and two together, and I came up with Valentine, who's a hardworking stylist with a zany staff. And her staff, they're in every book. Her zany, crazy staff and the meddling family, they all have a role in each book. And there's also little subplots with the different individuals, so it makes for an interesting read. So there's a little more going on than just the mystery, so there's little other stories that take place, so it makes it a nice full read.
Oh, that's fascinating. Is there a main love interest or?
There is the detective Michael Romero, and he often in the lighthearted mysteries, it is the detective that is the love interest. But in book 2, I introduced Jock DeMarco, who is an Argentinian. He's a motorcycle riding Herculean, gorgeous stylist that comes on the scene, and he's very interested in Valentine. So it's sort of like a love triangle from book 2 on. And he's more than happy to help watch over her. He has a very mysterious background too, and he was in stunt work. He was in the Navy. He was a fireman in the Navy, and he was a master at arms. So in each story, you kind of learn a little bit more about him. And he has this mysterious past, but he's also does hair in the salon too. So he does add an extra component to the story and a little bit of a love triangle, like I said. So and it's interesting because of a lot of fans love Romero, but then there's a lot that also love Jock. So
Oh, okay. So you have teams like.
yeah.
So each of these books has a different mystery that she has to solve. Do you
Right.
find yourself struggling to come up with another mystery for her, or are they stacked up? You have them well enough.
No, I basically with the books, like the first three are longer, and then the next three, like Murder Curlers and Kegs, was book 4, and book 5 is Murder Curlers and Kilts. And so I basically came up with the titles, and I sounds kind of silly, but I wrote the stories around the titles.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and I just had an idea of how zany I wanted the story to be, and it just, I don't know, the ideas just come to you. So.
Well, that's funny that you use the word zany because your books are really funny. They're very hysterically funny, and they've gotten a lot of publicity for being so humorous. So are you yourself funny in real life, or is it just on the page?
I like to think I am. No, I love cracking jokes. I love fun banter. I love making people laugh. And I wouldn't go as far as to say I was a class clown, but I do like that. I love when people in conversations, there's always something funny that can be and I mean, of course, time and place for everything, but I like to see humor in things, and I like to make people laugh. And there is a sarcastic element into the stories, like in a good, healthy, funny manner. But I have my sidekick, or Valentine's sidekick, Max. He is the one that delivers a lot of the punches and a lot of the wit.
Mhm.
And I keep Valentine a little more on the sweeter side, and Max is the one that I can sort of live out some of that sarcastic wit through. Like, he has a lot of the great lines, and the readers love Max. There's also the other employee who works in the salon, other than Jock and Max, is Phyllis, and she's a distant relative, and she can't cut her way out of a streaking cap. She's clumsy and she insults customers, and Max likes to rile her. So there's always the conflict between those two.
Yeah.
And like I said, readers love the conflict, and there's a lot of humor and a lot of slapstick comedy in my books. So so if people like that, that's the kind of things,
Well,
that's the kind of stories I write.
it's been really well received. And didn't the audio version, wasn't that up for an award?
Yes, it was called the Sovas. Thanks for that. Yeah, it was exciting. It was called the Sovas, the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences. And my narrators loved producing the book so much. They emailed me one day and said, "We're having such a blast producing this. We're going to enter it in the Sovas." And I was like, "What's the Sovas?" I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah.
And so when they explained it to me, I said, "Oh, fine, go ahead." So they entered it, and then we found out we were nominated. And so when I got the email with the list of nominees, I went through the list, and I see Tom Hanks for Toy Story 4 was
Wow.
nominated, Gerard Butler for How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World,
Um,
and Gal Gadot for, from Wonder Woman. She
yeah.
was in Ralph Breaks the Internet. And Keanu Reeves and Tim Allen, they were in Toy Story, and Annie Potts and Joan Cusack, and there were other actors with Gerard Butler in the How to Train Your Dragon. So when I saw all these names, I thought, I'm going to LA, and we got to walk the red carpet. So it was pretty exciting.
That
So
sounds exciting. That's
yeah, so had to buy
cool.
a new dress, and it was exciting to walk the red carpet and just to be in Warner Brothers studio, just the history there alone. So it was an
Congratulations.
experience.
Yeah, that is quite an accomplishment. That's amazing. So now, do you have the same readers for every book?
I would say, when people have read book 1, and
Mhm.
Diana, how reading is very subjective. People either love your story or not.
Mhm.
And I find it is, when somebody has read the first book, and if they love it, they want the next one and the next one. And you can't write fast enough. I mean, I'll be working on a book. I'll have released, like when I released book 4, people were reading it in a day, and it's like, when's book 5 coming out? And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm only on page 20 on book 5. I wish I could spit them out as fast as people read them, but
well, you're doing a really good job, and your series looks amazing. I think you've done an incredible job, and you've put this out yourself and gotten all this. You made USA Today bestseller. You've been up for this incredible award. You've been up for 30 other awards and won a lot of them. I mean, you've done all of this on your own. What has your experience taught you about self-publishing and finding readers who are interested in your work?
Yeah, self-publishing is so hard. I mean, everything is on your shoulders, like, promoting, marketing, and finding readers. And while you have the freedom to find readers, because the market is saturated, it is increasingly difficult. So it's constantly struggle. You have to advertise and do all the things that you're supposed to do. But, your heart is, you just want to write. And that's what gives me the most joy. I mean, I know I have to do the others, and I do the other stuff, but writing comedy, and I've heard this before, is the hardest. It's harder than writing any other, like, for genre wise. It's hardest to write comedy and humor alone, because especially with slapstick comedy, you have to have the setup, and the delivery has to be right on, and the punchline, and you don't want to over explain a joke. So there's a lot of elements to writing humor that it just has to be spot on. So it all takes time. So, but I'm happiest when I'm writing. I want to write more than the other business end of things, but it all has to be done. And unfortunately, it's all on your shoulders. So maybe one day I'll have an assistant, but for now, they always say that nobody cares about your work as much as you. So you're the one that has to do it. And so every morning I spend a couple of hours on the business side of things. And then from the rest of the day on, like 12 hours to 14 hours, I write.
Wow. So, good for you. That's fantastic.
And that's not enough hours. I want to write more, but life gets in the way.
Right. Well, you're doing an amazing job. I'm so impressed with all of your success, and I wish you more continued success. When is your next one coming out so that we can keep an eye out?
Well, I had put it up. It's up on pre-order on Amazon, and like the pre-order date, the release date is way off into the future. But I'm hoping to get it. Like Amazon has extended their when you put something up on pre-order. It used to be like 3 months. So I gave myself lots of space, but I'm hoping to get it up by end of April. So we'll see.
Okay, so not too much longer, but people can pre-order now.
Yes.
Murders, Curlers, and Kilts, right?
Right.
I love that title. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And if my readers have any questions, or the book club has any questions, I'll have them post under this video, and then you can just pop in and answer them.
I'd love to come by. I will, definitely.
Great.
Thank you, Diana.
Bye.
Bye-bye.